Oyez, oyez, oyez. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Boston as we celebrate the 249th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. How appropriate that we are here today, just outside this building, on March 5th, 1770. 5 men were among the first casualties of the Battle for Independence, in what would later be known as the Boston Massacre. From 1771 through 1782, a patriotic oration had been given from this very balcony. On July 18, 1776, the Declaration of Independence to the citizens of Boston was first proclaimed to the citizens of Boston from this very spot. As in revolutionary times, I ask our trumpeter to sound assembly. I now call upon the City of Boston's Veteran Services Commissioner and 20-year retired Navy veteran, Robert Santiago, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
At ease for now. In Boston, the Pledge of Allegiance holds a unique importance for us all. These 31 words affirm the values and the freedom that the American flag represents and are recited while facing the stars and stripes. On this July 4th, in the heart of the city where the American Revolution was born, we gather not only to celebrate our independence, but to reflect on the values that unite us as a people. While we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, first written in 1892 and later evolved and included in the U.S. Flag Code in 1942, we not only honor the flag, we are renewing a promise to be one nation, a promise to defend liberty, and a promise to strive for justice for all. That promise was first spoken into action right here in Boston. From the Boston Massacre to the Boston Tea Party, the Battle of Bunker Hill, and the evacuation of Dorchester Heights, just to name a few. This city played a pivotal role in sparking the very idea of what we know as America. These streets are filled with the spirit of those who believed in something bigger than themselves, a future built on freedom and a shared purpose. As we look ahead to the 250th anniversary of this great nation, the pledge reminds us of our story that is still being written. Today, as Americans, let us recite the pledge not out of routine, but with gratitude, with reflection, and with resolve. Let it remind us of the generations who sacrificed for all the freedoms that we enjoy today. So please, at this time, remove any headdress with your right hand and hold it while resting your right hand over your heart. And for those veterans and those in uniform, hand salute. And join me in reciting our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Happy 4th.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. And now our vocalist from the Boston Police Department, Officer Stephen McNulty, will sing God Bless America. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Stephen McNulty.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Stephen McNulty. It is now my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce the Mayor of Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Michelle Wu.
Happy Independence Day and welcome to Boston. This is the birthplace of American democracy, and we hold that charge, that responsibility very seriously. 249 years ago today, from this very spot, we declared our independence. We declared that Boston would not back down in the face of tyranny, in the face of bullying, not to kings and not to the greatest army in the world at that time. We declared that Boston would not tolerate someone else telling us how to take care of our own, would not stand for the threats to our lives and our livelihoods, and that we would fight for our families, for our future, and for our freedom. – 249 years ago today, Boston stood up and we changed the course of history. I want to thank each and every one of you all for being a part of continuing that legacy, of standing up for what's right, of standing up for our freedom, and continuing to pour into the families who make up our cherished community today. Thank you to the Ancient and Honorables. Thank you to Revolutionary Spaces, to the City of Boston staff, and to each and every one of our distinguished visitors here today. We welcome you back each and every day, and we better see you back here next year for the 250th. Happy Independence Day.
And now Captain Stephen Colella, Captain Commanding of the Ancient Ottawa Artillery, will read the Declaration of Independence.
Good morning. My name is Stephen F. Colella, the 317th Captain Commanding of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Boston. With me today are my First Lieutenant Michael Warber, my Second Lieutenant Ronald Barnes. They are here in keeping with tradition of the lieutenants being when the captain spoke. Our military company, was formed in 1637 and chartered in 1638 by the colonial legislature, and it is the third oldest in the world, followed or preceded only by the Swiss Guard, formed in 1506, and the Honorable Artillery Company of London, formed in 1537. Before we arrived here today, the old State House, we laid wreaths were laid at the graves of John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and Robert Treat Paine at the Granary Burial Ground. These three patriots, along with John Quincy Adams and Elbridge Gerry, were the signers of the Declaration of Independence from Massachusetts. John Adams is buried in Quincy. Elbridge Gerry is buried in Washington, D.C. After the Declaration was signed, copies were sent by horseback to the various colonies. A copy arrived in Boston on July 18, 1776, and it was from this balcony that a member of our company, Colonel Thomas Crafts, a painter by trade and a patriot, thank you, for the colonies, read it to the citizens of Boston. Since that day, every year on the 4th of July, the captain of the company reads the Declaration of Independence. Today it is my proud honor to read the Declaration for the 249th time. From an action of the Second Continental Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal by their Creator. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of these people to alter or to abolish it, and to establish new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them will seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed dictates that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes. And accordingly, all experience in mankind has shown that mankind is far more disposed to suffer evil when evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the existing forms they are accustomed to. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter the former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injury and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws, immediate and pressing, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the condition of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us, in times of peace, a standing army without the consent of our legislature. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large quantities of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial, from punishment for any murders which they may commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument by introducing the same absolute rule to our colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislature and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate over us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and destruction and tyranny already begun, with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, or to become the executioners of their brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrection amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of the oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in our most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free world. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of the attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of our circumstance of our emigration and settlement here, and we have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connection and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of the world. Enemies in war, in peace, friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assemble appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, and that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. That as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. On behalf of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Boston, happy 4th of July.